welcome back to The Rush. We are on location at Easter Seals Camp Squamish, and Easter Seals, of course, does great work in our community, and so does Canuck Place. And I'm joined by a special guest right now to tell us more about that. Her name is Laura Fielding, and she is a recreation therapy coordinator for Canuck Place Children's Hospital. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
So Canuck Place, tell us about it. What is it, and what happens there?
So we are a pediatric palliative care facility. We cater to children and families from across the province of BC as well as the Yukon.
And palliative care and children are two words that should not go hand in hand. Unfortunately, we live in a world where they do. So tell us what you do specifically for the families who are in that position.
Sure. So as a recreation therapy coordinator, we look at obviously embracing life and the kids and families having a good time together. So we do typical normal things that families do. We go on outings. We look at, going to the aquarium. We go to Science World. We obviously come here to Camp Squamish. As a typical normal childhood experience, these kids can be away from their parents can get a break, and we're having a great time here, obviously, at the Easter Seals camp.
Okay, tell us about what's happening here right now at Camp Squamish.
Sure, so we have 22 children here from Canuck Place. We have 13 Canuck Place kids, as well as 9 siblings and cousins that are here joining us. They range in age anywhere from 6 to 18. And the children that are here from Canuck Place will have some sort of progressive life-limiting illness.
And the siblings and family members that get to come as well, that's amazing that they get to spend that kind of time together.
Absolutely. So we like to kind of level the playing field here. So really nobody here has a disability. Everything is set up so that everyone can take part at their own pace, but also that everyone's successful in what they're doing. So siblings get a chance to hang out with other siblings, for one thing, but also the Canuck Place kids get to meet other children who have disabilities as well.
And I think that's so important. I visited the camp. My nephew's been a camper here. The kids understand other kids. It is so important that they learn that at a young age.
Absolutely. And I think children will make relationships here that will last their lifetime. And for the siblings, that kind of support after maybe their sibling dies is huge, because who else can understand that feeling of being a sibling and having lost a sibling?
Let's talk about that a little bit more. I've had the opportunity to tour Canuck Place and the facility and find out exactly what happens when a family comes there. Maybe you could walk us through, when a family is a part of Canuck Place, the process that they go to get in there, first of all, and what actually they experience.
Sure, so that's a really big question, but
I know.
It starts off with an intake process. So we look at children, families, doctors, aunts, uncles. Anyone can refer a child to our Canuck Place program. That child will then go through our intake process to see if they're appropriate. Do they have a progressive life-limiting illness? Once they're on our program, then they have access to all of our resources. So it is like the rec program. It's camp, it's pain and symptom management, it's counseling. It's a beautiful place to come and just have some respite care. So different from the adult hospice, where you look at the last days, weeks, months of an adult's life. We look at the child across their lifespan. So we can know a kid for a couple of hours, a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of years. So the nice thing about us at Canuck Place is we get to know a child, say, over a number of years, and when it comes time for their end of life, it's like family caring for a child, people who know this child and family really, really well, and it doesn't feel so scary and so sterile. It's still obviously a very traumatic event, but I think being able to hold the love and be surrounded by love of people who've cared for a child over the years is quite special.
How important is that support that you do provide for the families, the parents, and the siblings who are losing someone that they love?
Absolutely. So part of my job at Canuck Place, we look at doing memory making. So we do things like hand and foot molds, we do hair locks, we do special jewelry for families. And we know this is not going to take away their pain or lessen their pain in any way, but it does provide that family with a really nice touchstone to remember a life that has been lived. And families and siblings have reported how special Canuck Place is. They never ever want to be on our program, but they're glad that it's there if they need it.
Is there grief counseling for the families?
Absolutely. Grief and bereavement counseling is a huge part of our program. We have a bereavement coordinator, and we follow families for as long as they need us. So some families choose not to have any bereavement counseling. Some families we are in touch with 10 years after their child has died. It's really led by the family and what they need most.
How did you get involved?
That's a good question. I moved to the West Coast because I wanted to live on the West Coast. I didn't have any job when I came out here, and I really think it was the right place at the right time. In my heart, I wanted to work with children. I think if you asked me, do you want to work with children with life-limiting illnesses, I would have said no way, but it's been a really beautiful fit, and I just think, again, right place, right time, and I've been here for 12 years. So.
And I admire people who work in facilities like this so much, any kind of palliative care, because you really are holding someone's hand through the end of their life and their family as well. How do you cope with what you deal with every day?
You know, there's a couple of different ways. I think a lot of staff and volunteers that work there deal with it. I mean, you look at your own life and you feel that you're blessed. You know that you don't take anything for granted, obviously. I have a young daughter, and I certainly realize how precious it is to have a healthy child. I think for me, working at Canuck Place, it's just such an honor for me to work with the families. It's an honor to walk the path with them. It's an honor to bear witness to their love and their courage, and they really are an inspiration for me. And I think a lot of staff that work there.
And Canuck Place, how are the Canucks involved? How did it get named that? What is the history?
Sure. So about 20 years ago, Arthur Griffiths and Joanne Griffiths, who were the owners of the Canucks way back then, they had a really big place in their heart for Canuck Place and saw the need for a pediatric palliative care children's hospice. There wasn't one here. We're modeled after Helen House in England. And so the Canucks were sort of our signature sponsor to get Canuck Place off and running. We had a big building which was beautiful but needed a lot of renovations. So they got on board, they got the Canucks on board, and to this day they're still a large fundraiser and donor of Canuck Place.
Do the kids get to meet the Canucks?
Absolutely. Yeah, just next week we're actually having some pumpkin carving at Canuck Place with some of the Canucks coming by for the kids.
How fun is that for the kids to meet heroes in our community like that? And how important is it for them to do things that are things normal kids get to do?
Well, and I don't know, do normal kids get to meet the Canucks?
True enough, true enough.
I mean, again, for me to bear witness to a child being able to meet their hero, it blows me away. It's so emotional. And you see these kids and they see these players on TV and they're larger than life, and then they're right there in front of them carving a pumpkin, and you can see the kids kind of beaming, and initially everyone's a little bit awkward. You know, the players are kind of like, they don't know how to act with the kids, and the kids are like, it's my hero. And then everyone just falls into this really beautiful routine, and they're just, you know, men and kids carving pumpkins, and it's beautiful.
So cute. And what do you see here as far as what you're witnessing with the kids who are here at the camp?
Yeah, you know, I came up in the Canuck Place van with 5 kids, and they're just typical normal kids, you know, talking about One Direction and talking about girls, and it's great to see, and it really normalizes everything. You know, you just realize even though these kids have disabilities, maybe they're using wheelchairs, they're all just typical normal kids, and that's how they want to be treated.
They do, and they want to get out there and go on the trampoline. I was watching some of them earlier and be in the tree fort and just doing kid things.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, and thank you to everyone who does the wonderful work at Canuck Place. If you want to find out more about Canuck Place and its role with the camp and all the information, it can be found at canuckplace.org. I'm going to take a quick break and be back with more on this very special edition of The Rush right after this.